AEW's first pay-per-view of the entire year. First pay-per-view of the decade. And they came out swinging. Baseball season doesn't start for another month. And they came out swinging for the fences already. They've been on fire already all year long. But tonight, they swung for the fences and they hit what was a pay-per-view home run with AEW Revolution. It delivered in every possible way. Wasn't a perfect show. No show is ever perfect. But they delivered in every way possible. I even said on social media, the last thing that I said on Twitter tonight was that AEW Revolution delivered in every way. It was straightforward. No major surprises at all tonight. Very straightforward. Great in-ring action. Great storytelling. The right outcomes. Even the losers tonight in specific matches spread out across this show were winners in Chicago. AEW is absolutely on fire right now, and it's very hard to not really sit here and cheer for them and what they're doing. This was a great night. This was a great night. Excellent night. And it washed all the bad taste and the negativity out of our mouths. That was a terrible WWE week with all of the horrendous booking decisions that they went and made for WrestleMania. AEW Revolution was an excellent show, and I can't wait to see the fallout on Dynamite on Wednesday. I am JD. Thank you guys so very much for joining me right here on Off the Script. As you have come to know, every time we do a pay-per-view review, we are very detailed, man. So strap yourselves in. It's going to be a great night. And we're going to go over what I thought was an excellent night of wrestling for AEW. Thank you guys again for joining me. If you missed anything on the channel, make sure you go and check it down below in the description. Off the Script was on fire. As always, go and check that out. Monday Night Raw, NXT. Well, actually, no NXT. NXT was mixed in with the Friday show. AEW on Wednesday. Super Showdown on Thursday. If you guys missed that podcast, go and check that out. A very hearty rant to open that podcast on Thursday. And then Friday, if you missed Friday's SmackDown review, I urge you to go check it out. It is the absolute most, I don't want to say the greatest SmackDown review ever, but it was probably the greatest SmackDown review ever. I was so cutthroat. I was so just in the zone. I exposed everything that WWE is doing for WrestleMania season, and it's really making me sick to my stomach. That's why I love tonight so much, because it made me forget about all the horrendous shit that I seen this week and had to put up with this week. So go and check that out. Do yourself a favor. I've had people reach out to me in my DMs and tell me how great it was. I had people clipping the show, putting it on Twitter. Unbelievable reaction to that. Thank you guys so very much for all the support this week. It's been unbelievable. I love being the voice of the voiceless during all of this negativity, man. I will always be here to expose the real shit that is going on with WWE. So make sure you guys go and check out all the content on the channel. Follow me on social media, at JD from NY206 on Twitter. I thank everybody that tweeted along with me during Revolution tonight. Follow me on Instagram as well, at JD from NY206. Hit that subscribe button down below and turn on that bell for all notifications. And if you guys want to support the podcast, as always, you can do that via Patreon, patreon.com/JD from NY206. I love Chicago, man. Listening to this crowd tonight and just feeling the energy, just being at home, it made me kind of regret not going to Chicago. I would have loved to attend the comic book convention that they had. It seemed like a great time. I know AEW had a big representation there. Would have been great to see my buddy Jesse, who was in Chicago at this show tonight. He had a great time, so shout out to him. I just love Chicago, man. I want to go back. There's a lot of things that I want to explore in and around Chicago. AEW, every time that they have a show, it's always very enticing to go. I opted not to go, but man, did they really bring it for Revolution tonight. Stage and setup looked great. The sound was great. The commentary was on point. And Tony Khan spent, I don't know how much money on these light-up LED bracelets that they had spread out across the arena. Now, not everybody had these bracelets, but there were certain sections of the arena. Maybe everybody got one. I don't know. If you were at the show, let me know if you got one. It's got to be a hell of a souvenir to take home. But everybody had these bracelets on, from what I can tell, and they were all synchronized. My buddy Jesse called me and told me that they were testing this out because they were filming AEW Dark before the pay-per-view went live at 8 p.m., and it was synchronized, and it was completely controlled by AEW management in the back. So if they wanted it to light up a certain way or light up a certain color during whomever was in the ring or whatever segment was going on, they would let the fans hold up these bracelets, and you'd see what AEW was trying to do with these lights synchronized throughout the entire show. It looked beautiful. It looked epic on TV tonight on pay-per-view. It was awesome. Really, really awesome. Show started off with Dustin Rhodes and Jake Hager, the former Jack Swagger in World Wrestling Entertainment. This was Jake Hager's first match in AEW, opening the show here for Revolution. Very good match. It was a very good start to what I was hoping would be a great pay-per-view in the end. This was a perfect open. It did the job. Started off hot with a story going in here with Dustin Rhodes seeking revenge because Jake Hager broke his arm several months back. And Jake Hager looked great. He looked to be in phenomenal shape. He looked like he had not lost a step at all. He looks great still. He was great in WWE. Misused, but he was great. Dustin Rhodes is someone that seems like he had found the fountain of youth somewhere. He's always looked great, and he looks phenomenal for his age. So I was very interested to see what type of match these two would have, and I was very interested to see what type of match Jake Hager was going to have here in his debut with AEW. Dustin Rhodes came out with this face paint that looked like he had like half of a psychotic mask on. It was red, and his mouth was stitched up. It looked phenomenal. Whatever happened there, whoever came up with that concept, it looked fantastic. Jericho obviously running the Inner Circle, Jake Hager being a part of the Inner Circle. Dustin Rhodes had a shirt on that said, "I am here to fight Jericho's bitch." So obviously the fans in Chicago seen this on the shirt, and they went ahead and chanted that all through this match. Jake Hager made it out there. He came out and he went right to his porn star wife, who was sitting at ringside, and some weird and bizarre behavior by the cameramen of AEW and management by AEW. They zoomed in on these two individuals, Hager and his wife, completely making out. It looked very uncomfortable for someone like me to be watching that. I'm like, why do we have to see this? And then they showed it again on the fucking replay as if it was a highlight of the match. I don't know why, but Jake Hager loves his wife, I guess. There you go. There you go. So this one spilled into the crowd early. Dustin slammed Hager's arm onto the steel banister in the aisleway. Back in at ringside, Dustin started slamming Hager's arm into the steel post. Hager took control again with a suplex to Dustin on the ring apron. Crowd started a chant of Jericho's bitch because it was on Dustin's t-shirts. Hager rolls Dustin in for a 2 count. Hager remained in control for a little bit, keeping Dustin grounded. Dustin seemed to have some small flurries of offense here, but nothing really too big to turn the match around. Dustin finally made a real comeback as he seen an opening, slammed Hager into the turnbuckle. Hager then took control back for a bit and went over to his wife at ringside. She was yelling at Hager this time, not making out with him, thank God. But she was yelling at Hager, saying, "Break Dustin's arm." Again. So Dustin comes over, he knocks Hager down in front of his wife. He stared at Hager's wife and planted what looked to be a very sloppy kiss. I think he looked to do it intentionally. He smeared his face paint all over her face and lips. And then you see her in the background, because I don't think they showed her again after that. You've seen everything on her face. You've seen her in the background while the match was continuing on. She was doing her makeup live while this match was still going on, fixing herself after what Dustin had did. So crowd popped big for this. Back in the ring, Rhodes hit a couple of bulldogs and a power slam, then got cut off again. Hager missed a Vader bomb, but hit a second one on a second try. Hager then hit a gut-wrench powerbomb for a very close near fall. Hager with a series of clotheslines, gut-wrench, like I said, 2 count. Hager charged into the corner, and Dustin with a massive back body drop over the top rope. Hager goes down on the outside, hitting the apron on the way down. Looked really stiff. Dustin now in the ring went for Shattered Dreams. Remember good old Shattered Dreams? Aubrey said no. Aubrey stopped Dustin from hitting Shattered Dreams, if he still calls it that. So let me know if he still calls it that or if he calls it something else, just a good old-fashioned kick to the nuts. So Aubrey said no. He kicked Hager in the balls anyway from my vantage point. Code red by Dustin, which was a common theme for the first couple of matches of this show. And he only got a 2 count. Dustin then applied a cross arm breaker. Hager reversed it into an ankle lock. Dustin played up the fact of tapping out, but he did not. He broke the hold and almost went flying into Aubrey behind her back. Hager with a low blow. Then he applied a modified sleeper hold, and Dustin had to lose this match because Aubrey Edwards stopped the match via ref stoppage. So Dustin does not tap out. I could see these two going at it again sometime in the future, as early as Wednesday on Dynamite. But Dustin does not tap out. Aubrey stops the match immediately, and Jake Hager wins his AEW debut. He takes his wife from the crowd. They start celebrating, and that was the open to Revolution. I figured Jake Hager was going to win here because why would you have him debut in AEW and have him lose his first match? And with Hager winning this, I'm like, I guess Sammy Guevara is not winning his match against Darby Allin. So that's the takeoff, or that's the entire thing with the Inner Circle. Hager was going to win, and then Sammy was obviously going to lose to the much more popular Darby Allin, was my mentality coming out of this match. Very good open. Jake Hager looked great. Dustin looked great. It got the job done, and I could see these two feuding going on into Wednesday as early as Dynamite. So show started off on the right foot with Jake Hager winning against Dustin Rhodes at Revolution. AEW announced Blood and Guts on Dynamite, March 25th in Newark, New Jersey. Now, they're promoting 2 rings and 1 massive steel cage match. This is going to be AEW's version of War Games, live on TNT. Now, I find this to be absolutely hilarious. The symbolism behind this is fucking a thing of beauty. And good on them for really taking what WWE has stated and using it against them. This is, I wouldn't say a war, because AEW is never going to lose to NXT legitimately. But I hope one day that we get AEW to a point where they could actively compete with Monday Night Raw on Monday. I'd love to see another Monday Night War with AEW. Baby steps. It's going to be a little bit. I would not do it anytime soon. Anytime soon. In fact, for the 5 years that AEW is going to be on TNT, I wouldn't even do it in those 5 years. Baby steps. But I love the fact that Vince McMahon last year went out there in front of his shareholders during a 3rd or 4th quarter conference call and stated, well, I don't know how TNT is going to deal with that AEW blood and guts. So, the fact that AEW is kind of giving us their own version of War Games, it's not happening on pay-per-view, it's happening on TNT, and they named it Blood and Guts because of what Vince McMahon said, and now here we are on March 25th, and TNT is openly going to start promoting Blood and Guts on AEW Dynamite. I find it to be fucking hilarious. I think it's excellent. I think it's awesome. And I love it. Outside of all that, I love the fact that they are giving you something like that, which should be, in its own right, its pay-per-view, its own pay-per-view. A match like that should be on pay-per-view. We're getting it on Dynamite. Just think of that. Think of how AEW is for the fans. I love the fact that they're coming out of this Revolution tonight, and the next pay-per-view we have from AEW is Double or Nothing on Memorial Day weekend in May, the end of May. They're giving you this gimmick show on Dynamite to fit in to the overall pay-per-view build. It'll probably be I can't even come up with something, honestly. I don't know. I'm sure it will involve the Inner Circle. I don't know. It might involve the Inner Circle. It might involve the Elites against the Dark Order. I don't know. It's going to be very interesting to see how they build towards this. And I love these shows in the middle of these pay-per-views because it gives them a reason to build towards something. It gives these shows meaning instead of having these lulls and these down periods and all this time in between pay-per-views where, you know, a company or a show might have an off week and they get lazy and they don't really do anything all that important because they got so much time still left to build. It's going to bring a sense of urgency to the company. I like it. And I think it's fucking hilarious. Blood and Guts coming to AEW Dynamite March 25th in Newark, New Jersey. Sammy Guevara versus Darby Allin. This was perfect. And I mean perfect for these two guys. It didn't do too much. It was the perfect amount of chaos for Sammy Guevara and Darby Allin, with the right man winning the match. This was chaotic. It got both guys over. This was a highly anticipated match. And you can tell just by the reaction these guys got in this match that AEW's future is bright. Sammy is fantastic. Darby Allin, fantastic. Mid-card title, secondary title, whatever you want to call it. I don't want to disrespect Cody Rhodes because I know he doesn't like mid-card title. He doesn't like calling it a mid-card title. But when they do, and I hope it is their version of an IC title or a US title, something that brings value to the show. Something that could be prestigious in its own right, second to the AEW Championship. When that time comes, you're going to be looking at these two guys, and we're going to be revisiting this match in the future. This was awesome. This was absolutely awesome. Sammy came out first, and Darby came out. He came to the ring, and before the bell even rung, the bell did not even ring. Suicide dive through the ropes where Sammy was waiting on the outside, took Sammy out. Shotgun dropkick into the barricade by Darby. Guevara came back and returned the favor, and both men traded barricade shots. So this was hot and heavy. Bell still has not rung yet. Darby Allin placed Guevara on the barricade stomach first, like RVD used to do before he used to do that spinning leg drop off the apron. So Darby Allin placed Guevara on the barricade stomach first and executed a dive that looked fucking ridiculous. He almost killed himself, but this is Darby Allin's gimmick. Risking life and limb and not giving a shit about his own well-being. So, he dove through the ropes. His foot got caught on the rope, going through. Barely scratched Sammy Guevara on the outside. But commentary sold it as if this guy was a daredevil and he doesn't give a shit. So that's that. At least it wasn't Lacey Evans botching a fucking plancha and Michael Cole ignoring it. They brought to attention that his foot hit the rope. And that he didn't give a shit. He was right back up. He's right back up. So Sammy takes the skateboard and starts using it on Darby. He played air guitar with it, a.k.a. Kyle O'Reilly. He grabs a table from underneath the ring and places Darby on the table. Bell still hasn't rung yet, by the way. Sammy climbs up to the third rope. He says he's a little fucking crazy. He did a motion like this. He's a little crazy. And executes an absolutely fucking perfect 630. That would make Ricochet jealous. 630 off the top, through the table, through Darby. Crowd was chanting, holy shit. Referee Paul Turner wouldn't start the match until Darby got in the ring. Sammy was urging him to start the match because he figured, this guy's dead. He's not getting up from that. I just risked myself to take this motherfucker out. Ring the goddamn bell. Paul Turner, the referee of this match, would not ring the bell. Darby got up, got in the ring. Bell rang. Here we go. We got an official match now. Sammy with the running knee goes for a quick cover. 2 count. Darby Allin kicks out. Sammy slapped Darby across the face. Gory special by Darby Allin into an armbar. Sammy made it to the ropes for a break. Sammy with a double foot stomp off the top rope to Darby on the ring apron for a 2 count. The skateboard is in the ring now. Darby with the code red for 2. There's that code red. It was prevalent in the first match with Dustin and Jake Hager, and here we have Darby Allin doing a code red. The amazing red And his influence is being spread across AEW to begin Revolution. Good on that. The guy's an innovator. And my boss. So shout out to the amazing Red. Can't wait to get back to work. Going for a brainbuster. Darby blocked it. He got pushed off. He leapt up top. And both men were on top here. So this was crazy. This was the other crazy part of the match. If you thought the 630 was crazy, Sammy almost fucking killed himself legitimately here. So both men are up top going for a brainbuster. Darby blocked it. He got pushed off. And Sammy leapt up on the top rope in one fluid motion. Almost lost his balance. Darby Allin had to fucking hold this guy from falling to the outside and killing himself. He recovered, gained his balance into a Spanish fly off the top rope for a 2 count. Sammy took the pad off the turnbuckle, which obviously was going to backfire, and that's exactly what it did. It backfired on him. Stunner by Darby. Sammy sold the shit out of it, just like Ricochet sold the shit out of the F5, where he lost to Brock Lesnar in 90 seconds because he earned a WWE Championship match. Remember that? So we had Sammy selling the shit out of this stunner, and Darby right back up top for a coffin drop, which looked ridiculous. Darby Allin flying through the Chicago night, 75% across the ring here to land the coffin drop, and he gets the 3 count. Great match, perfect amount of time, perfect amount of carnage. Darby wanted to seek some revenge with the skateboard after the match, but Hager came out and pulled Sammy to safety. Darby Allin's stock, and Darby Allin himself, continues to rise in AEW. The guy, he is going to be a legit superstar, if not already in front of these people, in the eyes of these people. It really is an amazing thing to see how over he is. The guy is going to be their version of Jeff Hardy. He is on his way to being that. And Sammy, I can't take anything away from Sammy. The guy does everything with just a precise fucking just perfection. It's awesome to see the talent of AEW, the young talent of AEW shining through. This match was a perfect showcase. It didn't do too much. It didn't do too little. It was a perfect showcase for 2 guys who are going to be the future of this company. Keep your eyes on both of these men in 2020. Even though Sammy, I wish he'd start winning some matches, but the guy is developing quite the resume for himself. He's gaining the respect of a lot of people. He'll be fine. Darby Allin's going to be that guy in AEW. Get that title, secondary title made for him. He is the perfect choice for that secondary title. Man, oh man. I don't have any words for what came next, man. I really don't. The story, the emotion, all I can say is fucking tag team wrestling. Fucking tag team wrestling. I want to hear somebody tell me that tag team wrestling does not sell. I want to see someone tell me that tag team wrestling is dead. You watch tag team wrestling on Monday and Friday night, it's non-existent. It's laughable. It's a comedy show. There's no emotion. There's nothing behind it that is going to make me legitimately care. NXT is a different story. NXT usually does tag team wrestling the right way. I watched this match. The Young Bucks, Matt and Nick Jackson, Kenny Omega, Adam Hangman Page, AEW Tag Team Championships on the line. And I didn't even bother. Sitting in front of my iPad. I shut it off and I watched the match because I knew exactly what we were going to get. I had a feeling we were going to get a 5-star match at the end of this thing. This was the best tag team match that you will see. I don't think anything all year is even going to come close to this. This was the best match of the night. No question. This may be the best match in AEW all year, and it's amazing that AEW, in the same week, might very well have 2 matches in the same week that will end up in the top 5 of best matches of the entire year for pro wrestling here in the United States. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Matt, Nick, Kenny, and Paige, they deserve a standing ovation. The emotion, the story, the in-ring execution, the titles being on the line, Everything was absolutely perfect. I have not one negative thing to say about what I seen in this match. Not one. Not one. Now, my buddy Jesse was there live. He tells me the one thing I would say negative about this match is that there was one too many kickouts. After what we seen for 30 minutes, and I know I feel the same way sometimes, but it's the nature of wrestling. I'm not gonna concern myself on that one small aspect of the business now because everybody thinks that is gonna make a match more epic. I'm not gonna sit here and rant about, oh, there's too many kickouts. That was his one criticism on what was, I thought, a 5-star match. If that was the one criticism in a 31-minute match that we seen tonight, I'll take it. I'll take it. It's unbelievable what went into this match. First of all, you knew going in that Paige and Omega might not be on the same page. You knew going in that Paige and the Young Bucks were not on the same page. The Young Bucks were showing Kenny Omega a little bit more attention. They were always leaving Adam Page out. Adam Page, from time to time, had to clean up Kenny Omega's messes, and when he did, the Young Bucks kind of shoved him off and pushed him to the side and always made Kenny Omega their priority because they're best friends. Even though they are the elite, they always showed Kenny Omega that preferential treatment over Adam Hangman Page. Page has become a rebel, and the gimmick with the beer and the alcohol and the drinking, I don't know if you guys looked at Paige tonight, but I seen someone who in August, at All Out, I did not see as a world champion. I'm looking at Adam Page now in February, and it's only going to get bigger and bigger, and it's going to grow more and more. I would not be shocked, and I would not be opposed. I think Solomonster said this on Twitter tonight during the unbelievable reaction after this match was over, and I fully agree with him. So props to him because he was the one who said it. I was thinking it, but I didn't really put it into words on Twitter. I was just amazed at how the overall match came out, but I'm thinking of Paige. First of all, I'm thinking of Paige in this match. I'm looking at Paige and I'm thinking he could be their version of Stone Cold Steve Austin. He's got that same build. He's got that same makeup. He's got that intensity. I don't give a fuck attitude. And he's great in the ring. He's got a great promo. He's over as fuck with these people. And then Solomonster tweets out, and I see this, and again, I have to agree with him, and there's no way I could look at this and not agree with what he said. He said, if AEW doesn't revisit what they did with Jericho or the world title for Adam Page going into this year's All Out, it's very difficult not to see them do that with how over he is. I could very well see that being the case. I mean, some people are saying that Adam Page actually should be the world champion right now over Jon Moxley with how over he is. It's unbelievable. It is unbelievable the transformation that we've seen going back to August to now with what Adam Page is doing on AEW television. He's just cool. And everybody thought he was going heel in this match. They were over. Omega and Page were over. Page himself was a babyface 100%. The Bucks were being booed in Chicago. I loved the intensity here. The Bucks were being booed. They played the heels in this match. They were not the fan favorites in this thing. I thought they were the favorites to win the match, but they were not the fan favorites in Chicago tonight. The intensity was there. Page did not give a shit. Matt Jackson was very intense because he was upset about what Adam Page has been doing and the attitude that he's been on. Nick Jackson's been the passive one. Calm down. Just calm yourself down. That's exactly the role he played tonight. Kenny Omega was the one who just wanted to be respectful. He appreciates the Young Bucks. He loves the Young Bucks. They're best friends. He just wants to defend the titles with honor. So you had so many moving elements in this thing. Page, the rebel. Omega, the honorable one, just wants to go out there and have a great match and defend the titles and win the titles. Retain the titles. Matt has an issue with Page because he thinks he's harming himself. He doesn't know what happened to his buddy. And Nick Jackson's like, calm down, everything will be all right. You had 4 different personalities here. And at the end of this all, the one thing that was the most important, the friendship was, as the match went on, the friendship wasn't even fucking an issue anymore. It was the titles. The tag team titles were the most important thing after everything and all this emotion between all four of these moving pieces. While the match was happening, we got 15, 20, 25 minutes in. The titles were the most important thing on this night to these guys. It was the most important thing in this match. Fucking unbelievable. I can't even do the match justice with what happened here. Just great tag team wrestling, man. So, Hangman, I'm not even going to go over all my notes because I don't want to see. There's just so much. There's just so much that happened here. I can't do it justice. So, Matt and Nick went to work on Omega. Omega teased a Terminator dive. He got nailed with a kick on the apron. Matt hit Omega with a pile driver. How often do you see a pile driver on a pro wrestling show? It's been outlawed everywhere. Omega managed to tag in Page, who hit a trademark, spot here and there. Got the hot tag. He did his spots. Page knocked both Bucks off the apron, then hit a moonsault off the post to the floor, landed on his feet. Beautiful. Back inside, Page killed Nick with a lariat. Page threw Nick into the Bucks corner, demanding that he tag Matt. So Page hit a rolling elbow and a German, then Omega blind tagged him for a 2 count. Nick got a second hot tag. He tried the Escalera again. Page shoved him to the ramp. Nick then hit a destroyer from the ramp to the ring for a 2 count. Then the Bucks used their tandem offense. Got a couple of near falls. Nick hit a 450, then Matt cover for a 2 count. Then it was Page and Omega's turn for tandem offense. Page hit a blockbuster suplex for a 2 on Nick. Omega hit a V-trigger for a near fall. Omega hit both Bucks with V-triggers, then hit Nick with 2 Snapdragons. He followed up with a Tiger Driver 98 for a near fall. Omega teased a second rope, 1-winged angel, and Nick reversed it into a Poison Rana. I knew where that was going. And Omega hit square right on the top of his head. I truly don't know how he did not walk away with a broken neck. Same thing with Matt Jackson. I think he got fucking launched by Page, and if he was off by a fucking centimeter, he would have been carted out of here on a stretcher. These guys went all out, and I mean all out. So, Matt hit 3 Northern Lights suplexes on Page on the ramp, taking him out of the match. Matt and Nick hit Page with an Indie Taker, followed with an Indie Taker on the ramp. Again, he's out. So it didn't look very good for the champions here. The Bucks hit a double V trigger to Omega, who kicked out at a 1. The crowd went fucking crazy when Omega kicked out. When I tell you they wanted the babyfaces to retain the titles here, they wanted the babyfaces to retain the titles. So he kicks out at a 1. Second double V trigger led to a 2 count. Matt tore the tape off of Omega's shoulders. And there was a camera angle of Matt Jackson holding the tape in his hand, and he was legitimately shaking because he was so obsessed with beating Omega and Page for the tag team championships. He was shaking. Great storytelling. Again, like I told you. The Bucks teased a Meltzer driver. Page recovered. Somehow recovered. Powerbomb Nick through a table on the outside. That was not... The referees were very lenient tonight, and I'm glad. The referees didn't look like complete clowns tonight, but they were very lenient. No DQ. Powerbomb through the table. Page and Omega hit the buckshot V-trigger. Omega covered. Matt kicked out. I thought it was over after that. Matt somehow kicked out. Crowd went crazy. Omega teased a 1-winged angel, but sold his shoulder, so his shoulder went out. Page tagged in, hit a 1-winged angel on Matt, but Nick made the save. Fucking great. I loved that Omega sold the shoulder, and they brought up the idea, or not the idea, they brought up the fact that his shoulder was injured from the match with Pac on Wednesday. So Omega gets tagged out, and Hangman tags in. He delivers the fucking 1-winged angel perfectly, and Nick makes the save. Page hit a buckshot to Nick on the apron, then hit a buckshot to Matt in the ring for the pin, and that's it. That's it. The babyfaces here, Page and Omega, retain the tag team championships. Where's the turn? What's going on? So after the bell, the Bucks approached Omega for a handshake. Omega was reluctant, but eventually agreed. Page refused. So after, the ref raised the arms of Page and Kenny. Although they seemed to, be just completely broken down after what we've seen. The Bucks approached for a handshake. Schiavone said all four have to be proud and left everything on the table. The right thing to do is to embrace after what they just did in that ring tonight. Ross said the match could have easily gone the other way 3 or 4 different times. So Paige watched as Kenny did a fist bump with the Bucks. Matt invited Paige to join in and embrace, but Paige turned his back again and leaned over the top rope. His music played. He finally turned and seemed to consider going and embracing his friends, but instead he nodded, he turned away and left the ring. Kenny was left in the ring by himself, held up his belt. Paige dropped his belt, and he was watching Kenny, and it looked, they teased Adam Hangman Page jumping in the ring and delivering a buckshot lariat to Kenny, but instead, he held the ropes open. Kenny left the ring. They left arm in arm. Page looked for a beer. Fan handed him a full fucking beer. And that's the way they ended this match. This was fucking incredible. Unbelievable. You will not find a better tag team match all year. Not one. Unbelievable stuff. The storytelling, the execution of everything, the titles being important, the 4 moving pieces at the beginning of this match. I can't speak highly enough of it. This is what we all love about pro wrestling. For 31 minutes, you were enthralled in this match. It made you forget about everything negative, everything that you complained about this week. These 4 guys are 4 of the very best in this industry, and this match proved it. Go out, do yourself a favor, and watch the magic that these 4 guys created tonight. They retain the tag team titles. I believe the turn is coming eventually, but it would have been predictable if it happened tonight. I love the fact that they're still teasing it, and the story is still going to progress over the tag team titles. Nyla Rose versus Kris Statlander for the AEW Women's Championship. This was the death spot for any match. I'm not even saying it's for the women. You could have put anybody on after that tag team title match, and it would have been the same result. Unfortunately, tonight, it was the women. Nyla Rose and Kris Statlander for the AEW Women's Championship. Not a very good match, man. I hope for a decent match, because I think Kris Statlander is great. I thought Nyla Rose winning the championship from Riho was a very nice match between those two, but it seems, and I don't want to jump to conclusions because I haven't seen enough of her to really hone in on this fact, but seems like Nyla Rose can't work well with anybody if it's not Riho. And I'm hoping that she changes my mind. Kris Statlander is very young. She's only been doing this for 3 years. She will get better. I think she's great so far. I love the gimmick. I think the gimmick is a little cheesy, but I love it. And it's fun-loving. It fits her. She plays it well. I love the fact that AEW has allowed everybody that they've taken from the indies to just continue going about selling themselves and the characters that they've created, and not change them and not alter them and not tell them what to do. I love that AEW is just allowing everybody that they have on their roster to be themselves and continue to work on themselves. Kris Statlander's great. Nyla Rose, she's gotten better, but I just haven't found that one match outside a match with Riho that I could really say is, you know what, Nyla Rose is pretty damn good at what she does. I hope for something better here, and unfortunately, we did not get it. We did not get it. The one big criticism about this is I feel like, and no matter where this match was it could have opened the show. I think they would have went about it the same way. I think the ladies of AEW are trying too hard. I really do think that they're trying too hard. There's a couple of spots in this match where there were botches and there were attempts at dangerous, high-risk moves that they did not execute very well at all. I feel like they're trying too hard to impress people, to take that negative stigma away from the overall vibe of the division right now that everybody's feeling. The division's not good. The state of women's wrestling in AEW is not good. So they're going out there and they're trying to do too much. They're inexperienced to do what they want to do. They're inexperienced to do what they have planned. And then they try it anyway and it falls, or fails rather, and it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good. So they need to go about this slow and steady, and they need to do things that they are capable of and not do too much and then make themselves look like fools in the end. That's the vibe I got from this match. So they started slow. They traded shots. Statlander hit a senton and then used a standing moonsault for a 2 count. The turning point came with Statlander missing a tope through the ropes to the ramp. So Rhodes took over after the misdive, hitting a spear and then slamming Statlander into the turnbuckle. Statlander hit a super kick. They traded more strikes from their knees. Statlander sent Rhodes to the outside, then hit her with a pair of topes. Very nicely done on the topes, but Jim Ross, he hates topes, so he was shitting all over this because Jim Ross hates topes. Back inside, they traded lariats. Rhodes draped Statlander over the top rope, teasing a missile dropkick. Statlander did a handstand walk out of that position and then blew Rose a kiss. Now, this was Nyla Rose's big spot. She was going up for that big knee, so we had Statlander draped over the ropes. Nyla Rose was going up top. She was getting ready to drop that big knee off the top, and Statlander got off the ropes and did a walking handstand and laid down in a very provocative way instead of blowing kisses at Nyla Rose. So Statlander, then I believe Nyla Rose came off the top rope with a splash, and then Statlander got the knees up, hit a DDT for a 2. Statlander tried a Big Bang Theory. Rose blocked. Then locked in an STF, which was nicely done. This was nicely done by Nyla Rose. The transition was very clean. Rose gave up the hold and then tried a splash. Statlander then got the knees up. Statlander hit a one-legged dropkick. Rose hit a beast bomb for a 2 count. So Rose climbed up to the top rope. Statlander tried for a superplex, but could not get in position for this superplex. I thought they were going to fucking kill themselves. I was waiting for the botch to happen. She couldn't get her feet positioned the right way. So she ended up hitting something resembling a brainbuster, which commentary tried to sell it the best that they could, but it looked terrible. This was a very dangerous spot for both of these women, and I reiterate the fact that trying too much to really bring that big wow moment to a match in the division when nobody really right now is paying any attention to women's wrestling or having any interest in women's wrestling in AEW. Rose went up top against Statlander, tried for a Frankensteiner. Rose blocked and then hit a top rope beast bomb for the pin, which again looked sloppy. So that was that. So Nyla Rose wins. I did not expect her to lose after she had just taken the title from Riho, and this was her first title defense. So going in, this was a very predictable match. I always say that predictable is not always bad. There's good predictable and bad predictable. This was bad predictable because we all knew going in that Nyla Rose was not going to drop the title without having a title defense. And after all that this company has done to get the title on Nyla Rose, they were not going to take it off of her. This was a very bad predictable. The match elicited no excitement. There was no interest from anybody, and it was just there. This match just existed on this pay-per-view. It was the obligatory, let's get a women's match on this show, and it really meant nothing at the end of the evening. Nyla Rose retains in what I thought was a very sloppy women's match, the worst match on the entire show for Revolution. Cody Rhodes versus MJF, and the grudge match that everybody's been waiting for. Cody's been waiting for it. There was a graphic on screen that has been waiting 112 days for this match with MJF. This was a very, very old school match. I expected it to be. All of Cody's matches have been a highlight of every pay-per-view that AEW has done. No matter if it was Shawn Spears, no matter if it was Dustin Rhodes, no matter if it was Chris Jericho, no matter if it was Nick Aldis at the first All-In show. Every match that Cody Rhodes has done has had some old school, just psychology, some old school feel. And I expected nothing less from Cody Rhodes in this match with MJF. MJF is a beautiful take on an old school heel. Someone who lives the gimmick 24/7. Someone who does not let go of that gimmick no matter where he is. He is legitimately hated for the right reasons in pro wrestling, and you got to give MJF all the credit in the world for perfecting his craft at such a young age. Cody Rhodes, the homage to the old school and the old school psychology, the old school mentality is a thing of beauty. It's a breath of fresh air in what is a very new school vibe in AEW, just a new school vibe in the world of pro wrestling in general. I expected a very old school match going into this, and that's exactly what we got. The lead-in, the build was awesome. The build was old school. from the rules laid down by MJF. You can't touch MJF until Revolution. You're going to take 10 lashes from me. And this included Wardlow as well, who fucking lashed the shit out of Cody, but that's another story. And then the steel cage match with Wardlow. Just some great stuff, some great storytelling. And it all built up, it all built the intrigue, and it all was going to come to a head here at Revolution. Cody was led to the ring by the Nightmare Family. He was played to the ring by Downstate. MJF made his intro first, and he was looking like wrestling royalty tonight with his attire. His ring entrance was actually very cool. They had the light-up stage on this night and the big screen. His entire stage was a mirror image of his scarf. It looked awesome. It really did look great. Cody was led to the ring by the Nightmare Family, and Downstate played his theme music. I don't want to shit on Cody's entrance. This was probably the weakest of all the entrances we've seen of Cody. Now, I don't expect him to be breaking thrones every single pay-per-view, but I'm not a big fan of Downstate. I love Cody's theme, don't get me wrong, but am I the only one who thought the impact of Cody's theme on this pay-per-view, having it be played live, kind of took away from the overall impact of Cody's ring entrance and ring introduction? Or am I just being a little bit nitpicky? I feel like having them there kind of took away from the big match vibe that Cody usually has. Kind of took away from some of this match, to be honest with you. That's just the way I feel. I'm not a big fan of Downstate, like I said, and I don't think they're a very good live band at all, but he opted to have them play him to the ring tonight. I didn't like it. I might be nitpicky. That might be a thing that's not many people usually care about, but it's something that I felt kind of took away from the overall impact of Cody's entrance. Just my opinion. MJF, during this match, he ran into the crowd. He gave the fans the middle finger. He knocked some guy's hat off his head. I thought this guy was going to legitimately slap the shit out of him. He took someone's beer and threw it on them. I could not see who this slob was, but I felt like somebody was going to just knock the shit out of this guy. I texted my buddy Jesse, who was there in the arena tonight at the show, and I told him exactly what MJF did, and he even said MJF right now is in dangerous territory. He better be careful. So consider it a rite of passage. Consider it your lucky day if you get trolled by MJF at these shows. It's like a thing now. So MJF is just doing his job. Please don't take it seriously. So they started off fast, and then MJF, obviously being the coward here, the heel, is playing his role. Brandy, at one point, threw a water. I'm going to say it's a water, because I don't know why Brandy would be holding a beer, but she threw a water in Wardlow's face. Apparently, she felt like Wardlow needed to wash his face on this evening before bed. So he chased Brandy after he got splashed with water. Cody was waiting in the ring with a suicide dive to take him out as he kind of crossed that threshold. Cody stomped a mud hole in him. Huge ovation for this. Cody hit an uppercut and a Cody cutter. And MJF here, he's in the ring, and Cody runs up the stage, runs back into Gorilla, runs right down the ramp, full steam ahead like a locomotive, and hits a huge running clothesline, full momentum on MJF. Cody covered, but we had Wardlow pull MJF out of the ring. Saved him. So after all of what happened to Wardlow took Cody and obviously came back and opened up the match for MJF, taking Cody to the steel post on the outside. The announcers made mention that Cody had broken his toe in that cage match on Wednesday against Wardlow. Not this past Wednesday, but the previous Wednesday in the steel cage match against Wardlow. Cody was going into this match injured. He had a legitimate broken toe. So MJF used a Fujiwara armbar, which he calls the salt of the earth. Gotta love it. This would lead MJF to controlling some of this match in his own methodical pace. So, with the salt of the earth applied, Cody Rhodes had no way to reach the bottom rope. His arms were completely tied. He reached the bottom rope, not with his arms, not with his feet, not with his leg, but he got to the bottom rope with his teeth. He got to the bottom rope with his teeth. So that forced a break. MJF then ripped off one of Cody's boots, and this boot was the boot covering the broken toe. I legitimately turned away because I thought this was fucking completely cringe in the worst way possible, but I fully expected it from MJF. He bites the broken toe of Cody Rhodes. Cody hit a back suplex off the top rope. MJF rolled to the apron. Cody sent him to the floor with a disaster kick. Cody then teased a dive, but Wardlow stepped in the way. Of course he did. Arn Anderson then grabbed the chair and said, fuck this guy. Grabbed the chair. He scared Wardlow off. MJF then somehow got busted open on the floor. I could not, for the life of me, figure out what busted open MJF here. Cody went outside after him. He pulls MJF up. He's bleeding profusely. Back inside, Cody punched the cut. Now, I forgot to mention that Arn Anderson was taken out. Cody was there trying to get into all of this mayhem with Wardlow. Brandy Rhodes started it off, by the way. She went off. She dove off the apron. She cross-bodied Wardlow. He then put her on his shoulders. He was going to do like a Death Valley driver to her, I assume. And then Cody was like, put her down, put her down. Arn Anderson takes the chair. He scares off Wardlow. He puts Brandy down. But Cody goes to kick Wardlow because of him putting his hands on his wife. But he accidentally kicks Arn Anderson. So that's the way that entire situation played up. How MJF got hurt or got bloodied, I don't know. So Cody punched the cut. Cody then hit a snap power slam for a 2 count. Cody teased a draping DDT. MJF reversed it into a heat seeker. MJF covered. Wardlow put his feet on the rope. Brandy tried to, like I said, I actually mixed my notes up here. I got one part in the wrong spot here. So what I mentioned about Arn Anderson, that happened next. Wardlow caught her. Arn went after Wardlow. Cody tried to kick Wardlow and hit Arn by mistake. Arn took a bump on the floor. Back in the ring, MJF hit a low blow for a 2 count. They did a huge double suplex out to the floor. Don't know how Cody did not kill himself on this. He was twisting on his way down. He landed hard on the concrete. So they went out and spilled out to the floor. Both made it back in after the count-out tease. So they made it in around 8.5, 9. They're in the ring. They traded strikes. Cody fired up and was ready to flip-flop and fly, but MJF dropped down to avoid the bionic elbow. He's seen it coming. Homage to his dad. MJF hit a double cross for a 2 count. Cody kicked out. MJF then removed Cody's weight belt. The ref took it away from him. Cody then took the weight belt and started to use it and whip MJF. Referee was going to take it from him, but Cody said, please let me get one more. And man, did he make that last 1 count. He whipped the shit out of MJF and then threw it into the crowd. And someone in Chicago got a beautiful souvenir that I'm sure will be on eBay within the hour. MJF hugged Cody. And he was begging for remorse. Please, please, please. So he gets back up and he spits in Cody's face. Cody hit Crossroads twice. He went for 3rd. MJF blocked. Pulled the dynamite diamond ring out of his trunks. Hit a right hand. Knocked Cody out. And got the win. And Cody Rhodes is beaten by MJF. This was fun. It had a ton of theatrics. It played up with Brandy and Arn and Wardlow. And MJF was just a chicken shit heel in this role. And it was the right outcome. This is what you were going to expect going into this. I did not expect a wrestling clinic. I did not expect a Ric Flair fucking Sting classic with fucking the Crimson Mask on both guys. I didn't expect anything like that. I didn't expect some old school classic. MJF is a chicken shit heel. He will do whatever he has to do to win a match. He does not give a shit. Cody was going to mix in his old school mentality. And that was going to be mixed with MJF's old school heel persona. A real old school take on a classic chicken shit heel. And this was the perfect match for both of them with the right outcome and the right finishing sequence. MJF needed this win. He absolutely needed this win. And Cody Rhodes, who gives a shit if he loses? He's bulletproof to these people. MJF is undefeated, I believe, in AEW. And he may very well be the next in line for Jon Moxley. I would not mind that at all. I would be very interested to see what MJF does in pursuit of an AEW championship. And before you know it, he's going to be better than all of us, and we are all going to know it. Because there's no doubt in my mind that this man's going to be the AEW champion sooner rather than later. This was a great match. I enjoyed it for what it was. Theatrics, I'm not too keen on, but I knew this going in, and I knew this was how it was going to end up. This was great, and the right outcome was made with MJF winning. Pac versus Orange Cassidy was one of the matches I was looking forward to most all night. Just for the simple fact that I want to see Orange Cassidy burn social media down to the ground. So many people shit on Orange Cassidy. Oh, this guy's a ruination of wrestling. This guy's a joke to professional wrestling. This is what everybody's going crazy for over, in AEW for. He is just a joke. He's a clown. He's a comedy act. How could this be the most over thing in pro wrestling? Pro wrestling's a fucking joke in 2020, right? All this shit. Orange Cassidy, tonight, at Revolution, shut up every single hater he's ever had. No question. And if you are still hating on Orange Cassidy after tonight, you're going to make yourself look like a complete fucking idiot. Now, I don't remember what Evolve show I was at, but I seen Orange Cassidy do some of what he did here. And I'm like, this gimmick is pretty cool. This guy is a lazy wrestler who does as little as possible, but when he needs to, he'll break out some crazy shit. And that's exactly what I seen at an Evolve show. I remember him in Queens. And I remember watching him, and I'm like, this guy's going to be fucking something to look out for. This was, I don't know how many years ago. I don't know. It might have been a year and a half ago, 2 years ago maybe. So Orange Cassidy and Pac have had run-ins here and there. And on the go-home show, Pac lost to Omega in that 30-minute Iron Man match, and out comes Orange Cassidy to confront Pac. He thought this was a joke. So he knocked Orange Cassidy out, and the match was made. So we got like a mini grudge match here between these two. So Justin introduced Cassidy from being, his hometown was wherever. And he weighed in at whatever. I laughed. This is hilarious. This is hilarious to me. It's great. Ross says he's never seen Cassidy in a singles match and hasn't scouted him. But he knows he's super popular and selling merchandise like crazy. I believe Excalibur said that he's got one of the more popular shirts on AEW Shop. So Shivani said he identified with Cassidy because he doesn't seem to give a rat's ass, and some days he doesn't either. So Cassidy put the sunglasses on. Ross was being Jim Ross, and he was talking shit about the social media goons. So Pac and Cassidy had a stare down to start this match. This was Shawn Michaels and Undertaker-like stuff here at WrestleMania 25. Fans chanted, holy shit. Fans legitimately chanted, holy shit. Cassidy outmaneuvered Pac, took him down, and then put his hands in his pockets. So he ducked Pac's first swing. Fans are chanting at this point, this is awesome. Cassidy slowly kicked Pac's ankles. Fans were yelling with every single super kick done here by Orange Cassidy. The most devastating super kicks in all of pro wrestling. Pac then was playing up with Orange Cassidy, doing the light kicks back to him. Crowd was eating this shit up. You'd think you'd be watching a fucking Johnny Gargano, Adam Cole takeover main event for the title here. It's unbelievable what was going on. Fans are chanting, this is awesome. So they were both kicking each other's ankles. Shivani said, I'm into this. This is great. Cassidy kicked Pac's ankles, and then Pac shoved him down. So Excalibur said Pac had enough of this sloth style. They call him the king of sloth style. Shivani said he let it go on for a little bit more. Cassidy kept his hands in his pockets and ran the ropes and drop-kicked Pac, and then kipped up and played up to the crowd. So Cassidy rolled up Pac with his hands in use and scored a very close near fall. He did an arm drag with his hands in his pockets. I don't even know how this was fucking humanly possible, but he did it. He executed it. And I'm enjoying this shit like it's a fucking main event takeover fucking championship match. Unbelievable. So Cassidy went back to putting his hands in his pockets, but Pac hit a tilt-a-whirl suplex, and he took over. So he stomped Pac and seemed to have enough. Threw him to the floor. He stomped Cassidy, rather. He threw him to the floor. After these guys were on the outside, fans were chanting, "No pulp. No pulp." Pac superplexed Cassidy off the top rope. Pac lifted Cassidy's shoulders before the 3. He was going to have some fun with him. He dragged Cassidy's limp body into position for a Black Arrow. And then Cassidy started to casually roll out of the ring. Pac jumped down, went after him. Fans were chanting, "Holy shit." So we heard, "No pulp, holy shit, and this is awesome" so far in this match. So Pac set up Cassidy again, but again he rolled to the outside, evading Pac. So then Trent put his hands on his hips in frustration at ringside. "This is wrestling," is now being chanted. Ross said Pac was getting frustrated, and he was. Cassidy laughed. Cassidy, rolling away, knowing what he was doing, laughed in Pac's face because Pac met him face-to-face on the outside. He had enough of these fucking games. Pac looked into the crowd, who was applauding all of this fucking comedy shit. Pac then was applauding in a very sarcastic manner at ringside. Cassidy turned it on at this point. Unbelievable turn of events. Crowd legitimately fucking went volcanic for all this shit. Cassidy turned full speed, landed a dive at ringside, crossbody off the top rope, beat a DDT for a 2 count. Crowd was eating this shit up like fucking candy. Like candy. Pac took Cassidy down hard with a fucking vicious clothesline. Fans were booing. Cassidy stood, hit Pac with some really weak, very weak and light chops. Crowd ate this shit up. They were owing and eyeing. Pac yelled at Cassidy. Cassidy put his hands in his pockets and ducked Pac's lariat. He then again came back full steam ahead and gave Pac a stun gun. He climbed to the top rope. Pac knocked him off balance. And Pac set up top for a top rope move. Cassidy turned it into a mid-flight DDT. He climbed to the top rope, leapt with another DDT. Pac rolled out of the ring to the ramp. Trent rolled him back in. Cassidy landed his air raid crash for a very close near. I legitimately thought this was over after the air raid crash. Lucha Brothers ran out. They attacked Trent. Chuck Taylor dove over on top of the Lucha Brothers on the ramp. They fought off the stage and exited, leaving Cassidy and Pac by themselves. So Cassidy was watching this. Ref was watching it. Pac yanked Cassidy to the mat and applied the brutalizer. Cassidy gave up instantly, and Pac held on afterward until Cassidy was out completely, and that was it. This was the sleeper match of the night. This was fucking great. Legitimately great. Whoever has a problem with Orange Cassidy now, I don't think after tonight you are going to have a problem with Orange Cassidy, period. The gimmick is great. He's a lazy wrestler who will try when he wants to. But when he tries, the shit that he pulled out tonight, I don't know how you're not impressed by what this fucking guy can do. This is the most over gimmick in all of pro wrestling. In all of pro wrestling. Unbelievable stuff here. Cassidy might have lost. It might look like a joke to you that he's in the ring with somebody like Pac. But Pac played along. Pac made him look like a star. Pac won. Pac made him tap out instantly. But that doesn't mean Orange Cassidy lost. Orange Cassidy looks like a bigger winner tonight, even though Pac did win via submission. I want to see, myself personally, want to see more of Orange Cassidy. This was the sleeper match of the night, and easily the second best match on this entire show. Main event, Chris Jericho, Jon Moxley, AEW Championship. It all comes down to this. This was, in my eyes, a match that a lot of people expected a title change in. At the end of it, we got the title change. At the end of it, Moxley is the new man in AEW. At the end of it, I was not happy with what I seen as far as this match goes. I thought this match was very boring. I thought this match was very sloppy. I thought this match was very slow and prodding and just way too methodical for my taste. I don't know what it was. I did not like the in-ring chemistry with these two. I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was just this night. I don't know if it was just me being tired and wanting the show to be over because I wanted to relax for the rest of the evening. I don't know what it was. But I did not like what these two guys produced tonight. The right outcome, yes. But I did not like the match that was produced between Jericho and Moxley. Moxley wins the World Championship. He's the new AEW champion. Moxley walked in from the outside into the arena. Awesome visual, seeing him come in from the outside. Chris Jericho had a fucking choir singing his theme song in what was an incredible rendition of Judas. And then his actual theme hit, and Chicago sang along like every other city has been doing lately. They started off brawling, some knife-edge chops and a clothesline by Moxley over the top to Jericho. They brawled into the crowd. Aubrey Edwards, the referee, was very lenient here, let them go. Jericho started using the stands that blocked the sections off in the crowd on Moxley. So they worked back towards the ring. Jericho took the camera, did his own filming, gave the finger as always. Takes the barricade by ringside and throws it at Moxley. Moxley took control as they were both still on the outside. And he hit, I don't know what happened here. He was biting. He was biting the fucking stitches off of Jericho from the headbutt on Wednesday. Again, another one of these cringe moments like MJF biting the fucking broken toe of Cody. Moxley was biting the fucking stitches off of Jericho's face during this match. So Jericho then threw Moxley into the ring post and he was bleeding. Jericho takes Moxley and powerbombs him into the timekeeper's table. He takes the belly, rings it, declares himself the winner, takes the microphone from Justin Roberts and announces himself in the arena as the winner of this match. It's typical Jericho. Moxley tried to fight back with a flurry of chops and Jericho was back in control. Santana and Ortiz got involved and Jericho threw Moxley into the steel steps. Both men on the top now. Jericho looking for a superplex. Moxley blocks it, throws Jericho down. Moxley off the top with a flying elbow. This looked to be his opening, finally. Moxley got some offense until Jericho tried for the walls. Moxley turns it into a leg lock. Jericho's on the outside. Moxley with a dive. Santana and Ortiz get involved again. And Ortiz nails Moxley with the loaded sock. And then that brings Jericho to do a lion salt for a 2 count. So Moxley got the Boston Crab on Jericho. He tried to reach for the ropes, but Moxley dragged him in the center of the ring. Jake Hager runs down. Moxley lets go, takes out Hager. Jericho gets a code breaker for a 2 count. Jericho finally applies the walls in the center of the ring, and Moxley eventually gets to the ropes with Jericho getting in Aubrey's face because he was pissed off. He starts shoving Aubrey. Jake Hager gets a cheap shot on Moxley. Aubrey seen it, threw out everyone of the inner circle, sent them to the back. So Sammy Guevara was the only one not out there because Jericho's a mastermind. Sammy Guevara comes from the crowd, nails Moxley with the AEW title, runs off. Jericho makes the cover, and Moxley kicks out. So now they're back up. Big slugfest between the two, and Jericho gouged the good eye of Moxley. Starts yelling at Moxley. You can't see now, huh? Now he's got no eyes. Jericho knocks Moxley out with a straight right, takes his knee pad off, drops a knee on Moxley's face on the good eye. Jericho went for the Judas effect. Moxley ducked, hits a paradigm shift, took his eye patch off, second paradigm shift. Moxley wins the AEW title and is crowned the new AEW champion here at Revolution. He took the eye patch off and he was playing a fucking possum. He played possum with the eye patch. You could see he's seen everything. All these weeks, he's seen everything. You got to give it up for Moxley. He, everywhere he went, played up the fact that his eye was fucking injured. Everywhere he go, he lived this gimmick, the fucking injury. He lived this injury everywhere he went with the fucking eye patch. Gotta give it to him, man. You don't see a lot of people really, living their craft in real life out everywhere. He probably went to the fucking supermarket with that thing on, man. Moxley's the AEW champion. It's an amazing ride to see where he was only a year ago. The man behind the character, I want you guys to think about this. Whether you like Moxley or not, the man behind the character left a cancerous environment, somewhere where he wasn't happy, to go and do his own thing on his own terms, do it his way. And he is now at the top of the wrestling world as the AEW World Champion. That deserves all the respect in the world. And that's somebody that I will undoubtedly respect at the end of the workday. Awesome stuff. I didn't like the match. I thought the match was very... for some reason, it did not resonate with me at all. I don't know what it was. But I wonder what Moxley's going to bring as the AEW champion. Is he the guy? Is he the guy in AEW? He's undefeated. He is being protected more than anybody on this show. What is next for Moxley? Who do they got lined up? Is it going to be MJF? Is AEW going to bring in Lance Archer? to start a feud with Moxley? Are they going to bring in Brody Lee? Is it going to be two ex-WWE guys fighting over the AEW title? Any one of those guys work. It's going to be very interesting to see what they do as far as Moxley's run with the championship. Jericho did what he can with the championship. He was the right man for the job. But you kind of knew it was going to Moxley. Jericho, what he does now, I don't know. Jericho's value is irreplaceable in this company. He will be fine without the championship. Jericho is going to continue doing what he's been doing. Bring awareness to AEW. Bring that spotlight to AEW. Bring his brand and put over the young talent of AEW. That's what he's going to be doing. It's Moxley's time now. This is Moxley's era. This is Moxley's reign. Some people might not think or say he's the guy, but right now, with everything that's going on, who else is there in AEW? He was the only other legit guy outside of Cody that is not Kenny Omega. Cody Rhodes is the only other guy on this brand legitimately big enough to be that world champion. Eventually, it will happen. But I thought Moxley winning was the right outcome. It's going to be interesting to see where they go from here. And I thought overall this show was excellent for AEW tonight. Guys, I'm getting out of here. Thank you so very much for all of your support this week. It's been a busy work week. I'm glad to get through it all. Finally, if you guys enjoyed the review, if you guys enjoyed the show, let me know what you think down below. Hit that thumbs up. Follow me on social media. And check out all the other content that you might have missed on the channel this week. Guys, I'll be back on Monday. I'm going to rest for the rest of the weekend. See you right back here for Monday Night Raw. And AEW killed it tonight again, as always. They're on fire. And let's get ready for Dynamite on Wednesday as now we build towards Blood and Guts. I don't know how I'm going to get this monetized on YouTube, but it's going to be one of those things where I might have to use a little bit of trickery. Blood and Guts. So that's the next thing we're building towards. March 25th, New Jersey. And I'll see you guys on Monday for WWE Raw. See you guys then.